And usually when you're seeing the kind of battle-worn Marine, veteran come home, it's the white actor. And it just seemed so much more fascinating and, yeah, like complex and new to see a South Asian actor play that role.
Hi, Michael. Tania here for PopCulture.com, and I'm so happy to talk to you for Encounter. Congrats on the movie. It's such a beautifully nuanced, layered film that is so thoughtful in its message, and I was just really touched by it. So I'm wondering, what inspired you to take on this project?
It was really when I read Joe Barton's original script and I had this very deep personal connection to the characters that he'd created, particularly Riz's character and his relationship with his two young boys. And I grew up with a younger brother, and for a lot of my childhood, a single father. And when we were similar ages to the characters in the film, we went through a sort of crisis as a family. It's slightly different to the one that's in the film, but it had a profound impact on us, and we had to navigate through it together. And it really struck me when I was older that when I look back, it was kind of me and my brother helping my dad get through that crisis as much as he was helping us. And I realized we were going through a kind of collectively a coming of age moment as a family. So I read Joe's script and I thought, wow, you've done a portrait of my upbringing. It just seems so rare to come across material that speaks to you so personally. So that was a thing that I was really drawn to. And of course it had all these other exciting genre elements that were new challenges for me. But it was really the character work that drew me in.
I love how the film adds another layer of depth to the story through its casting and diversity, including the role of Riz Ahmed. And as someone who is Muslim, just like he is, and of a Pakistani heritage, I'm wondering, seeing that portrayal, it felt very personal for me. So, how do you think diversity adds a depth to the story of an American Marine? And was that intentional?
It wasn't initially intentional. It was something that came about through casting Riz. I think the character was kind of written for a default white male. And then when I met Riz about the project, I reread the script and I just really asked the question: why can't we diversify the choices of people that we're looking for this role? And I think casting Riz just brought so many new layers of complexity. It increased the level of alienation his character has from the world around him. It amplifies the level of tension with regard to the people he encounters on his journey, And in some ways, as the film was trying to sort of defy genre expectations, we felt like there was a great opportunity to defy expectations of who you get to see playing this type of role. It always struck me that if you think of the best anti-heroes in cinema, they're usually played by white actors. And to some degree, I think they're the best, most meaty roles. If I was an actor, that's all I would want to play. And usually when you're seeing the kind of battle-worn Marine, veteran come home, it's the white actor. And it just seemed so much more fascinating and, yeah, like complex and new to see a South Asian actor play that role. But equally, me and Riz, we didn't want, just because it's a South Asian actor, we felt there was no reason that this couldn't be a universal story. And whilst we wanted ethnicity his ethnicity to be touched upon in the film, we didn't feel it needed to be the defining characteristic. And I know a lot of South Asian friends in the UK have equally really connected to the film because they felt, what they really enjoyed was it's not that character is defined by their ethnicity. That he's a man that's trying to save his kids. And equally with the portrait of the children, it's not a film about culture clash. And not that there aren't great movies about that, but they're, in some ways they're just kids, and they're on this adventure and they're in a perilous situation and they're trying to figure out who their father really is. And so we were just trying to straddle that line of being, speak honestly about the character's ethnicity, but not let it eclipse the universal story of a father and his sons.
I love how the location is also reflective of Malik's psyche and relationship with his kids. It's kind of patchy, it's quiet, it's kind of barren at times too, and it has a little bit of emptiness in segments. And I'm wondering, how important was it for you to illustrate his mental health struggles, not just through these events that were going on between him and his kids, but through these locations and settings?
It's a really acute observation because often I speak to him, most people reference the locations as being resonant of kind of a sci-fi aesthetic, which is true. We were trying to find desert landscapes that seemed otherworldly. But me and my cinematographer and production designer and location scout, we said that it can't just be that. It's not just that they have to evoke a kind of otherworldly feeling. They should also be evocative of some of the environment, some of the conflict zones that he's been to. And for example, the abandoned mining town that they stop at, you could look at that one way and it might seem like a location from a Mad Max movie or some post-apocalyptic sci-fi film, but in another way, it looks like the eerie ghost town from a bombed out site in a conflict zone that he might have gone to. And we really like this idea that he was still haunted by this trauma. And so we were, with each location, we were just trying to meet those two requirements, and we were trying not to, we were trying to stay away from the Instagrammable California Joshua Tree type desert, and try and find more unique landscapes that spoke to this.
I know this is a very personal movie for you as well. And so, with the film teetering between sci fi and drama, what's the biggest takeaway you want viewers to have from this movie?
Well, I suppose it's that I want them to have that connection that I had with the characters on my first reading. Like, I found the original script definitely like a page turner, and equally, I want the audiences to find the film really gripping, and for them not to know where it's going next. But ultimately, at the end, I want them to be really tuned into the characters and to be affected about this coming of age moment that all three characters have had to go through. Riz's character has had to learn to expose his vulnerabilities to his kids, which has been really difficult for him. And for the younger character, it's really a moment where he learns that his father's just a human being, and that means he's flawed, and sometimes that means that he needs help. And there's something in that I think a lot of people can relate to.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And congrats on the movie. It's phenomenal, and I'm so excited for everyone to watch it.